Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so now we're talking about Game 5 of Dallas and Phoenix taking place in Phoenix, Arizona tonight. So in the last game, we had Devin Booker go off for the Suns, and pretty much everybody else was ice cold. Perimeter issues, just like we said in regards to the Miami series, it's the exact same problem they got going on over here. This team, the Phoenix Suns, is having a very difficult time stopping the three-point shot because the Dallas Mavericks were 20 of 44, which is something that we don't know if it's sustainable or not. But and then of course they shot themselves. I think it was like 9 for 30 something or something like that. Wasn't very good. They are going to have to up their perimeter play on both ends of the floor. You cannot win this series against Dallas if you're not being mindful of the perimeter. I guess is what I'll say. Be mindful of it. All right. Dorian Finney-Smith, 8 out of 12 threes. Stellar performance on both sides of the floor. I told you guys I think he's the second best player on this team. And he's backing it up by playing excellent. It's a good thing nobody realizes he's the second best player on this team because they don't defend him like he's the second best player on this team. As long as Phoenix hasn't figured this out, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. I like what I saw out of Spencer Dinwiddie. Slowly but surely, he's gaining himself some momentum. He is in a very, very difficult spot trying to find his offense in this offense. But he's been aggressive his last 2 games. He's been intent on attempting his shots. And I think Luka's done a good job. The other guys have done a good job of letting him get his, because at that point, he becomes a threat for the defense to have to deal with. And when he's not a threat, you're a significantly worse team. All right. Reggie Bullock, awesome. He's had a great playoffs. Defensively, he's been on point. His shooting comes and goes. I want to see him continue to be aggressive on both sides of the floor. Leaning on him for over 40 minutes in Game 3 was a big reason for why they were able to get that initial game. Carrying that forward into Game 2 was awesome. Game 4 was awesome. What needs to happen, though, is that needs to translate on the road. When the arena isn't behind you, will those same shots fall? Will you still have that same energy defensively? And I think the answer is yes. He's proven that he's going to be aggressive. Like I said, the shot, come and go. But that defense stays put. So Reggie's been huge. Maxi Kleber, exact same thing. He's a shooter, but he's making his money on the defensive end in this series and rebounding the ball. He's done all the right stuff. And even though the shot isn't necessarily as consistent as you would want from a shooter, if a shooter is going to do all the other stuff, then he's not just a shooter. He's a baller. And that's exactly what I'm learning from Maxi Kleber. If the Phoenix Suns are, if the Dallas Mavericks are going to win this series, Maxi Kleber's going to have a huge to do with that. Very huge. So keep an eye on him. Obviously, Jalen Brunson, when you're talking about the Dallas Mavericks, you're not getting too far away from Jalen. And he's finding his way. Obviously he's in and out of the lineup in terms of consistency. He hasn't been his best self, but at the same time, you understand at any given moment, he can go off for 30 points, even more. He's going to be aggressive tonight. He's going to play well on the road on both sides in order for Dallas to get this victory. Now, if you're Phoenix, you guys are going to have to find some offense somewhere. I know that sounds weird when you got Devin Booker and Chris Paul, but Chris Paul is having some horrible games, and we've talked about that. He had a birthday weekend in Dallas, and it was a nightmare. And both of those games were uniquely poor performances for Chris Paul. Very unique performance. In the first game out there, he had 7 turnovers. 6 of them were in the first half. Completely took his team out of it, and he was the only one turning the ball over, unfortunately. Or at least until the second half. And then yesterday's game, or the last game, Game 4, he fouled out with 9 minutes to go in the game. I thought that a lot of that had to do with coaching, mismanaging his timeouts and just bad decision-making in that regard. But all in all, I don't think you see 3 bad performances from CP3. So I'd assume that he's going to be focused. Home cooking is what he needs, and if Dallas is going to stop Phoenix tonight, you got to be ready for a huge performance from him. It's coming. I just don't see him continuing to struggle the way he has been for 3 games in a row. Maybe he is entering a horrible slump, and if that's the case, it might cost Phoenix the series. But I just don't think that's going to continue. He needs home cooking. He needs to get back home, see that valley floor, see them fans waving them flags, and he'll be CP3 once again, in my opinion. Mikhail Bridges. I want Mikhail Bridges to score more. I know he's a defensive player. I know he does a lot of things for a lot of people. But I think the great players look at what the void is on the team and fills it. In that last game, they could not put enough points on the board, and he walked away with 4 points. You got to up your offensive game when you see nobody else is scoring. And that's not just him, that's everybody. But for him, it's a thing because he needs to up his attempts. Like I said, his defense, he's playing so much defense. He's got one of the toughest assignments in the world, trying to guard Luka. But he's also one of the best conditioned athletes in the world. And I know he can do better than that. I know he can. Even on a night where he's kicking his legs and playing hard defense, he still needs to score about 10, 12 points. So I'm not going to let up on him. I think he's one of the best players out there, and I think he can have that mentality to fill the void. It needs to be done. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking for from Phoenix, man. Can y'all shoot the ball better? That's all the question is. We had this issue in New Orleans. Couldn't hit a three. I'm having this issue now, and I'm starting to think it's going to keep y'all from winning the championship. You can't have perimeter issues in this era. This is not the era to not be able to defend the three or shoot the three. So, as great as a team as Phoenix is, my concern with them is that their three-point shot is going to be the bane of their existence. They're just not going to overcome it. So that would be something I'd be worried about if I'm Monty. At the end of the day, you guys have heard me say this. Monty Williams is not winning this coaching matchup. Jason Kidd is coaching circles around him. And it's a big reason why the Dallas Mavericks are winning this series right now, or rather tied up with a position to take a lead. It's because Dallas has coached better. They've found more out of their team. And their defense has been completely and utterly stifling. You got to give them credit. Dallas is really defending well. We're talking about Phoenix not making threes. They're not making threes because they're being forced into some tough spots. Got to give credit to Jay Crowder. He's been playing very well for these last 2 games. I know that he twisted his ankle in game 3. Still played very well. He's hitting his 3. They got to lean on him a bit more. If he's shooting like that, he can help you with the issue. But his consistency from behind the arc isn't always there either. I heard Stephen A. Smith mention that he felt like Devin Booker should have took over the game. No. Look, as far as I could tell, Devin Booker was doing everything he could. In that particular game, he was the one doing all the scoring. So you want him to score more? He's doing it all. I think the issue was everybody else. That was a problem. The issue was his coach and CP3 mismanaging CP3's timeouts. I don't think it's right for me to look at the guy who's doing everything and say, you need to do more, because everybody who's doing nothing is just going to provide nothing. That may be a fact, but that shouldn't be my focus in terms of holding somebody accountable. Hold the guys who aren't doing anything accountable, not the one who's doing everything. Devin Booker was doing everything. So I agree with that. I think Devin Booker had an excellent game. I think he played the way he's supposed to. I don't think he forced anything. I think if he did what Stephen A. wants him to do, he probably lowers his shooting percentage and ultimately throws a bunch of possessions away. That's essentially what Stephen A. was asking him to attempt to do. Shoot more. Those are bad shot selections. If he's shooting more, he was shooting the way he needs to shoot. He was taking shots he needs to take. It's the rest of the team that needs to help him by making the shots they need to be taking. So that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at Cam Payne and Cam Johnson. I'm saying y'all are not doing enough to beat the Dallas Mavericks. And a big reason why your team is tied up instead of sweeping this team is because y'all haven't been yourselves. If the Cams had been themselves, this series would have been over already, let alone not tied. It would have been over. I am very disappointed in them. They should be disappointed in their performances. And they need to get better right now. Or they're going to be going back to Dallas playing for their lives. I'm putting it on those two. Because they're the ones who have provided so much of a boost when guys are missing. And the reason why Phoenix Suns have not looked like themselves is because a lot of the series had guys missing. Guys going in and out of the lineup. You heard what I just said with CP3. He ain't himself. Devin Booker's doing the best he can, but the next best player on the team playing is probably JaVale McGee. Like, that's not going to cut it for the Phoenix Suns. It's not going to cut it. You can't have your bench unit come in and just jack up threes. You got to be more going on than that. It's got to be more cohesiveness. Got to be more team play, And when Chris Paul sits down, you guys got to still be able to work together. So a lot of that's on the guards campaign, but I'm also looking at the guys like Cam Johnson saying, let your defense turn you into some offense. Cam Johnson, to me, is at his best besides shooting the three when he's stealing the ball in transition, headed the other way. He needs to get back to that. Find yourself active in them damn passing lanes and get some layups. That's what Cam Johnson needs to do. Cam Johnson, getting in passing lanes. In campaign, defense is your best game too. I haven't forgotten that. That's where you really make your money. Shot selection comes and goes for him. He's aggressive. Minutes inconsistent. One thing that doesn't have to ever be inconsistent with campaign is his effort on the defensive end. And that is where I want him to make his money. Scoring, a guy like him, he can definitely score the ball. But a lot of times if he hasn't up his scoring, he's just jacking up shots he shouldn't be taking. So that's not necessarily what I want him to do. I just want him to play defense and let that defense turn to offense. If the two cams are grinding it out on the defensive end, Phoenix wins. But if they're lackluster, playing like they've been playing this series, kind of just, I give you 10 points. I'm 1 for 5. If the cams are playing like that, Dallas wins. So that's what it is, man. My prediction for this game is up in the air because I've looked at Dallas and I said Dallas has figured something out, and I think it's going to probably carry forward. But I also think I looked at Phoenix and I say some of that stuff that we saw on the road is just not going to happen in their building. But as I said with the Philadelphia 76ers in Miami, I'm believing what I'm looking at. I'm going to make teams prove to me right now that you can stop something that you haven't been able to stop before I pick you to win. That's where I'm at. It's just how I'm feeling today. I've seen glaring weaknesses in the Phoenix Suns that has not been taken care of in 2 games. Just because it's in a different building, could things be different? Yes. But am I going to believe that the Dallas Mavericks are going to abandon what's been working? No. You got to fix it. You got to adjust to it. Monty Williams has to prove to me that his adjustments work. And then I will instill confidence in them once again. But right now, the momentum is wearing a lot of blue. A lot of Dallas blue. So I'm going to roll with the momentum and say Dallas is going to take this game on the road tonight. I think these 3 shooters, Kleber, Bullock, Dorian, Finney, Smith, it's actually 4 of them. And, the guy whose name I never remember. But, those 4 shooters are so very important. As long as you get those guys, those tall shooters that play defense the ball, Davis Bertans, as long as you get them the ball and they're able to get their shots off, good selected shots, that's a win for Dallas. They got a lot of good things going for them when that happens. And, of course, I went this whole video without mentioning Luka Doncic. And Luka Doncic is a great player. You know how I am about great players. They're almost afterthoughts. Just pencil them in for great play and get ready to praise their name at the end of the game. That's what it is. Luka's one of the best. And, he's going to do what he has to do. He will be the closer tonight for the Dallas Mavericks. Shouldn't be no other reason why he shouldn't take a last shot if it's close or something like that. He's the guy you most trust in that team, of course. So it's going to be on him to continue to be unselfish. I've called into this camera saying that I think he should learn to love seeing others get their rhythm while he's on the floor, because that's the biggest hurdle for him, because he holds the ball so much, or rather controls the ball so much, that ball handlers tend to not find their rhythm with him. A guy like Spencer Dinwiddie not having the greatest tenure on Dallas because of that. But if he can master the art of getting other guys involved while still managing to hold his ball for 75% of the time, if he can figure out that equation, he's unstoppable. Because now you can put anybody around him. You understand what I'm saying? Now there's no limitations on how you can build a team around him. So if I'm Luka Doncic, I'm going to force myself to fall in love with watching other people get their rhythm. Same thing with Trae Young. Both of those players need to figure that out. And if they do, they can go as far as they want to go. But as long as those players are players that hold the ball, right, and other guys can't get in their rhythm because of it, it's going to limit what you can have, what pieces you can put around them. It's going to limit their opportunities to win. So very important. So, Luka, pass the rock. Make sure Dinwiddie, Brunson, and no shooters get the ball while still taking your shots. 3-point shot. I know he has the green light. He tends to be very inefficient. He'll jack up 10 of them, make 3. I think Jason Kidd prefers it that way, so I'm not going to say anything. My philosophy is better shot selections over volume. I prefer better quality possessions, and let my rebounding do everything it needs to do. And let the chips fall where they may. I don't like jacking up a bunch of threes, but this is Dallas, so they're going to do that. They're going to do that, and they're probably going to win doing it. So, yeah, perimeter. If you're Phoenix, your focus is the perimeter. And, of course, Ayton. My God, Ayton. I've been screaming this in this camera for the entire series. Dallas can't guard Ayton. They cannot. And I think at the end of the day, if you feed him a million times, they don't have any answer for that. None. Dwight Powell is going to have no success. Those big shooters that we talked about, have no success. You could try Boban if you like. They don't have anybody. And I think the Phoenix Suns, in their quest to find themselves from behind the arc and failing to do so, they've literally forgotten that they have the one matchup in this series that no one can do anything about. In fact, that Monty has not taken advantage of that is another reason why I say he's losing the coaching battle. This is easy. This is an easy series. Ayton gets 18 shots a game. Simple. 18 shots a game, series ends in 5. But they didn't do that. They want to shoot threes and run around and brick and nah. I don't like how Phoenix is playing this series, and I think they're in real trouble because of it. So if they don't get their act together tonight, they're going to lose. Simple as that. That is literally all I have to say about it. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.